What's up, guys? Welcome back to another reaction video, and we're going to be diving into a whole debacle in a little studio called Sweet Baby Inc. I'm pretty sure you guys heard of it. Now, what I was able to understand and know about them is that they make modern games. And what I mean modern games is that they make games that push the message, the modern day message of LGBT, leftist, radical thinking, or whatever. I don't know, just brain rot, and not even good brain rot. It's just straight up, fucking racist in a way that's just like, I don't know. But this studio, how they're still, pushing out games is beyond me. But like the messages that they put is just fucking cringe or whatever. So we're gonna dive into this by the video is by, excuse me, Rev Says Deus. It's a great content creator out there. Go give him a like. I'll leave the original video in the description, and please show him some support. He does good shit. Does really good shit. Shout out again to him. So let's see what happened to this, what the situation is about. And the context is that this game called South of Midnight was a game that was gonna take place. This game was supposed to be about South folklore. And when I mean South, like I want to say like maybe Louisiana, Georgia, those swampy areas that had that type of lore, or urban legends, so to speak, or legends and whatnot. Excuse me. And the concept for it was not that bad, because I thought we might have dived into exploring, like, I guess maybe voodoo, the whole voodoo aspect, and like how the tales this particular religion involves in, or the folklore, basically down south folklore. And I think it did sound interesting. However, what I was able to understand was that, like, the character originally was supposed to be, well, don't quote me on this, I might be wrong, but the original character was gonna be white, I guess, and they switched it, which well, how that sort of thing kind of plays out, and how people don't necessarily like that. I mean, it's happened already. It happens a lot in movies, and it's happening in games. So in the entertainment industry as a whole, this sort of thing is happening more and more. But we're gonna see how how that played out, and apparently this game did not do well. And we'll see how, I guess we'll see in a moment how bad it will be. So let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So today we're going to be talking about the
Revere. That's how you pronounce it.
latest Sweet Baby Inc. disaster, South of Midnight. This is a game that, much like AC Shadows, has produced a lot of likes and support on places like Twitter, with viral posts claiming this game would own the chuds and show all of those bigoted right-wing gamers wrong when it goes out there and succeeds.
And my guess is that,
but again, much like AC Shadows,
and my guess that is it didn't do well then, with that kind of thinking, because screw white gamers or gamers or whatever. We're just man, when it comes to narratives like that, are you surprised that people aren't gonna fucking play your goddamn game? Like, come on, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Shadows, likes on
Excuse me.
Twitter do not translate to sales. And this game
Exactly,
is
they don't.
flopping hard right out of the gate, but the signs were always there. Now, sadly enough, the game on its face has a pretty interesting concept, a gothic deep south origin route here,
Yeah.
with some, pretty interesting folklore at hand here, but as you started to peel back the layers and look deeper into this game, and in particular who's making it, it seems pretty obvious there was an agenda here and a very big push for the modern audience. So right off the bat, we're talking about Compulsion Games. This is the developer of South of Midnight,
Yeah.
and they are someone who is very trigger happy with the block button on Twitter. They will block pretty much anyone who criticizes them. It's not a very good look, just like this.
Yeah, and when idiots do that, it's not going to help your case anyway, because people can still screenshot it, or well, maybe not screenshot it if you're not like a not only not a follower but also subscribe to their Twitter and whatnot, because apparently that's a thing.
Tweet was not a very good look a year ago when they came to the defense of Crystal Dynamics, who in their remake of Tomb Raider 1 through 3, or should I say remaster, they had these warning labels talking about how there's all these offensive depictions that are no longer aligning with their values. And then Compulsion Games came to their defense and said, many video games are the product of the times they were created, and as we look to recreate and remaster these stories for modern audiences, they literally said the phrase.
Oh, wow,
it's important to consider the implications of
the fact that they actually said it is funny. I'm not gonna lie, that's fucking hilarious, dude.
these harmful portrayals and do our part to rewrite new history, not repeat it.
Now, the fucking thing about that is that it's really stupid and whatnot. You can't fucking change history by rewriting it or whatever. The fucking unfortunate thing about us human beings is that we are doomed to repeat history if we don't look back at history that hasn't been altered and whatnot. Because winners are not allowed to let losers rewrite history.
Absolutely amazing mask off moment back then. But the big thing that's affecting the PR of this game is, of course, their connection to Sweet Baby. One that is not hidden, by the way.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Sweet Baby has buried pretty much all of their connections to various projects and studios over time, South of Midnight has always been front and center. In fact, it's still listed on their website as one of their featured projects. They are very proud of their role in this game, which pretty much absorbed their entire studio. Pretty much the whole studio at Sweet Baby helped work on this game. And they did things like story development, script writing, cultural and character consultation. Oh boy, that sounds great. And boy, did that show itself with the character designs. Very modern audience, androgynous, muscular, sharp chins. I mean, this is just your typical modern audience character design. This is another red flag.
Well, if we well, at least let's be a little bit fair. If we were just to, like, maybe throw that part out, would it honestly make the game? Well, I guess it probably wouldn't or whatever. But like I don't know. On the one hand, the one on the left does look better. I don't know. But I do see the point, though. I do see it.
That people were seeing. And the other red flag, of course.
Okay, yeah, I get it. The over whatchamacallit, the fact that she has the fucking eyebrow thing and whatnot, and the fucking nose piercing, industrial piercings, and more piercing, is just it's really fucking, it just kind of like says that that type of person and whatnot. And I see these type of people, like, whenever I go out into the world and go about my day and whatnot out in public, and I see people like this, the saying is that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes that's kind of freaking hard to do, especially if they repeat the pattern of said person that, like, presents themselves like this. Like, who are you trying to portray and whatnot? It's like, oh, okay, you're basically portraying a modern woman that's got baggage, that has scars and whatnot, and you just freaking showing out to the whole world that you're a bitch and you hate men, and that's why you're a lesbian, or whatever the hell the case may be. Okay, not that I'm like bashing on it, but there's like a certain type of person that, like, that's kind of like this and whatnot, and will, like, jump on the chance of biting your head off if you come at them the wrong way or whatever.
Is that journalists love it. Even IGN slapping an 8 on South of Midnight, which should have been a warning sign. For example, they gave Black Myth Wukong an 8. So their rating system is completely weird. Busted. And whenever they're giving high praise to a game like this that is being criticized for potentially leaning into the modern audience, that should be a red flag. And then if you look at the reviews, generally the Metascore is a 77, which is a pretty respectable score. And you also have multiple reviewers giving 100s to this game. A perfect score, completely glazing up.
Yeah, I think that's very disingenuous. Either they're being paid to give them that rating, or whatever factor may be, it's just fucking, it's just weird.
This game, I mean, I'm gonna take like 30 seconds to get on my soapbox here, but like, am I the only one who's this neurotic? Like, I feel like
it does seem a bit neurotic, and it's also a bit, how do you say, what's the other word? Oh, narcissist. There you go. I almost lost it. It was on the tip of my tongue and I almost lost it. But no, yeah, it is neurotic and narcissistic.
And perfect scores should be given away very, very lightly. Like, it should be at least a game of the year contender, if not even better than that. If you're going to give it a perfect score, right?
Yeah, game of the year, my ass. Fucking, if this game gets, like, a game of the year, my ass, or something like that, it is very telling and whatnot. Even the video game awards that passed back in December. I think the gaming awards have been a little disingenuous, I think.
I don't think South of Midnight is a perfect game. But anyways, that's just me being neurotic. And then the final red flag on this game before its official release was the early numbers for people who had early access. And during the 5 days or so before the official release with early access, the numbers for this game on SteamDB fluctuated between about 100 to 400 players. That is really bad, especially when the early access only cost you an extra $10, $50 total instead of $40 for the regular release.
Man.
But yeah, the writing was kind of on the wall. And then you see the day of, on the 8th, yesterday, Compulsion Games coming out, announcing this game is now going global. It's the full release. And you can see the very large confidence they have locking the replies after they got dunked on by many different users for many different reasons. And now here we are on day 2 of this major AA release, and it's sitting under 1,000 in-game players.
Only
this
1,000
is an absolute failure. And you can see the chart down here. You can see the early access. And then this was the official release, peaking out at about 1,400 players, going back down to about 400 overnight, and now it's seemingly crawling its way back. I would imagine it's going to reach the same peak as yesterday or something similar to that. But overall, for a game like this is a colossal disappointment. There's no way to spin this in a positive way. This
Yeah, and if you do, it just freaking shows how much you love the freaking smell of your own farts.
is a game backed by Microsoft. It is a AA release that clearly had a very large budget, and it's barely pulling Concord numbers. Now, I hear a lot of
barely pulling Concord numbers. Damn, that is fucking telling. That is sad. That is fucking sad. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
People who are defending this game, they're going to say, but Game Pass, there's going to be so many people using Game
Nah, you know, at this point, fucking Game Pass, nah, it was a joke. I'm not gonna lie. Freaking Game Pass is a fucking piece of a freaking shit today. Maybe a couple of years ago, it was a good idea. I'm not gonna lie. I was on that bandwagon. Now, it's just fucking garbage, honestly.
Game Pass. If people already had Game Pass and they're using that to play South of Midnight, that doesn't really do any favors for the developers of this game.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
They would have to buy Game Pass just to play South of Midnight, or at least that was their initial intention.
And I also think that people have been unsubscribing to Game Pass actually now, myself included.
Of purchasing Game Pass.
Actually, I've been unsubscribed for a couple of months already.
Do you honestly think anyone's doing that? I mean, seriously, there's absolutely no way anybody is doing that. These numbers are incredibly disappointing for what this game was supposed to be. And of course, you have to ask yourself, what the hell went wrong here? Well, I think overall from the reaction of gamers, they're just not very impressed. This game had an interesting concept, but it wasn't well executed. And a lot of people are pointing to the fact that the script writing is really bad and boring, which is a pretty bad sign. Bad and boring is not a good combo when it comes to a story. But on top of that, we look at some of the things going on with this game and we think, how much effort and money was put into this game?
Probably not a lot. Or if it was put a lot of effort, the effort was probably just to try to, you know, convey the modern message
that, as it turns out, can be played through in about 7 hours. Are people really willing to spend $40 on a game they can complete in 7 hours? One that also sounds like it's not very enjoyable? That's a very tall ask. And you ask yourself, well, if the game's boring, what happened? Well, unfortunately, the people who are responsible for a lot of the things wrong with this game are also the ones who are driving the most negative PR for this game over the past year. And the most obvious place to start with that is Sweet Baby. You can see the end credits now. You have pretty much the majority of the Sweet Baby team listed here, including Kim Belair, who did story development and script writing. And you can see basically the whole thing is focusing on narrative consultation, script writing, and story development. And boy, did it really pay off in a very fruitful way for this game. As you can see pointed out here, South of Midnight is a horrendously written game where the black female protagonist gets her powers from, checks notes, picking cotton.
Oh my god, dude, really? You're fucking lying, dude. I mean, I wasn't I was just listening. I wasn't even like, you know, reading to follow along, or I was just like listening, okay? But holy shit, dude. You're lying, right? You're bullshitting me that's the footnote.
Oh, jeez. Oh my god.
Okay, that it's fucked up, but somehow it's funny, you know.
But they can't call it cotton because of optics, so they call it floofy. Well, they saved themselves there, don't worry.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. That's gonna fucking save you just by fucking giving it another stupid ass name, right? Just by calling it something different. Oh, that's like, oh, I'm doing cocaine. I'm doing cocaine, but now that I've been caught, I was like, oh no, I was just snorting snow up my nose. Like, oh, that's not even any better. Oh, sorry, no, I was just snorting a baby formula up my nose or baking powder. Like, bro, it's like we can clearly see it's fucking like, fucking cocaine or whatever. We know it's the thing. Okay. Just by calling it, different doesn't give you the ability to just sweep it under the rug. That's just an analogy, but just because you're calling the cotton floof makes it any better. Are you really think people are gonna be that fucking stupid?
Guys. It also has blight assets from Dragon Age the Veilguard in it too, not that BioWare need them anymore. The main character is an entitled brat that cares only for herself. Sweet Baby Inc., do it again. And this part is pretty much every modern audience game right here, right? The main...
Okay, yeah, is not wrong about that, okay? At least, to be fair, if a character is like, if their sexual orientation is like, the alphabet, so to speak, LGBT or whatever, it's not that people have a problem with that. It's just that if you make them out to be, like an entitled brat that only cares about themselves, about their and not other people, despite differences and whatnot, having different takes on things, it doesn't necessarily feel like a good character that people want to relate to. People are just not going to relate to a character like that. People relate to a character for their flaws and their goods and their bads, and the ability to overcome their bad qualities in order to develop even new qualities or better, or even newer, better takes from an opposing, from a different character that they come across, and try to see, life in their lens or their experience, be in their shoes.
Main character being an entitled brat that only cares about herself. Many such cases. But as you can see, the unintentionally ridiculous concept up here that Sweet Baby, I guess, was sensitive enough to know would be a very bad look, so they changed cotton to floofy, which again doesn't really say.
Floofy. I said that wrong. But floofy, interchangeable, freaking picking cotton. Like, really? That's the fucking power? That makes me wonder that if Sweet Baby is in itself racist.
From the
self-racist.
The jokes that are writing themselves here. Now,
yeah, pretty much. You took the words right out of my mouth. Exactly what's happening, dude.
Also notice that on that list of credits, you also had Chris Kindred, who ironically enough was the figurehead who started this entire massive wave against Sweet Baby. Of course, some people were talking about Sweet Baby before February of last year, but this is the tweet that really sent everything into orbit, where he tried to encourage his followers to harass and falsely report a Steam group called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected that simply cataloged the games that they're listing on their own public website as their projects. Okay. And of course wanted to also report the personal account of Cabrutus, the individual who was the creator of the Steam group. And this sort of narrative is always left out of every report by the usual suspects in games journalism. And also keep in mind, a couple months ago, Rolling Stone made a fluff piece trying to not only prop up this game, but also chastise all of those evil gamers who dared to criticize this game. And of course, who do you think wrote this article? Kotaku's former editor, Alyssa Mercante, because of course. Kotaku. Now, looking at this article, they try to spin a narrative that it's all these right-wing gamers and bigots who hate this game, and this game's gonna just do so well. And
I mean, even if we just like throw that off, come on, dude, freaking, there's gonna be people on the far, they're gonna be extremists on either side, okay? But even to like at the average, person, they are gonna feel, excuse me, feel alienated or called out and just be like, oh, fuck you guys or whatever. And it's not going to sit well with them. No one's going to want to fucking play your game because you're, pulling this kind of fucking narrative.
And yada, yada, yada. Now, before we read this section, I want to point out one thing that I just noticed as I was prepping for this video. In her own writing here, you can see she capitalizes black. Right here with black representation. Capitalizes the B.
But not the
But down here with whites, she does not capitalize whites. Yeah. Now this is crazy. This is like advanced racism at this point. I don't even know how they come up.
Oh man. If that's the case, then fuck, I don't know what to say. I don't know what exactly can you say to something like that. Capitalize black but not white.
Up with this stuff, but fuck? Yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I think that is very weird. But anyways, this is what she had to say.
That is weird.
The specter of hate, but the same black representation that brings so much joy to the team has brought
if that was the case, she should have capitalized the entire word instead and lowercase the white word. The word white, I mean.
Due scrutiny levied by reactionary corners of the internet that still believes one consultancy
that would have been more advanced, This is so fucking dumb, dude.
Company Sweet Baby Inc. is forcing wokeness into video games, which we know, based on Kim Belair's own words, that, yeah, that's what they're trying to do, trying to scare people into pushing this stuff into their company. But they continue on saying that rumor began swirling in March of this year and is still a rallying cry amongst right-wing gaming influencers on X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, and the darker and even more hateful corners of the internet. So, based on my deduction here, are they saying this is YouTube?
YouTube?
Because they don't even mention YouTube, but anyways, I'm just nitpicking here. They continue on. Not long after South of Midnight gameplay was revealed during the Xbox showcase at Summer Game Fest this year, Compulsion Games was targeted by the modern version of Gamergate, who insisted that Hazel was race swapped from a previous white character in that.
Oh, so I wasn't off in the beginning when I said when they race swapped her, because I did read it somewhere, but I wasn't necessarily sure that if it was completely true. But I guess this, kind of confirms it.
The shadowy consultancy company had its evil DEI, which stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and has become the ethics in gaming journalism shorthand of today, fingers around Compulsion's throat, as is tradition with this kind of hate movement. The studio was inundated.
If that was true, you're doing the same damn thing too, man. If any of that's true.
With emails and their community
and just because they're white doesn't mean that you can't be racist towards white. I'm going to say that right off the bat. You can be racist towards anybody and be racist. Racism is racism, okay? Doesn't matter what color your skin, whether you're black or white, blue, brown, whatever the fuck. Because in high school, racism was defined as person prejudice against race, religion, sex or sexual orientation, breed. Now it's just blown out of proportion for just anything. Say something bad to somebody, oh, you're racist or some shit. Like, people today are so fucking. Nobody has a freaking tough skin anymore. Everyone's so fucking sensitive these days.
Manager was ceaselessly harassed both online and off. Wow, that poor community manager.
Boo-hoo.
They did nothing wrong. Why would anyone go after this person and criticize them? Oh, it's because this individual right here, Katie Chu, this.
Liberate, of course. Liberate she, her, by pen. History, more like history alteration or whatever the fuck you call it. I mean, if this what your fucking sure, you might have the Pikachu thing and whatnot, but like fucking liberate Palestine, Gaza, whatever the fuck.
Community manager at Compulsion Games. They have a lot to say about white people and gamers.
Yeah, of course they do.
They said white male gamers were a mistake. Oh, geez, and blame them for basically causing all these issues in the gaming spaces. They also say that Asian people are white adjacent. Again,
What?
like advanced levels of.
Wow, dude, now that's racism. But man, I don't even know how. That's racism adjacent. Racism adjacent. That's just like, you know, racism or fuck. I don't know, man. Like my fucking, I'm losing brain cells with these fucking people, dude. Like, I can't believe freaking people like this exist and have a platform to fucking talk on this shit.
Of racism I didn't even know was possible. And
maybe it's better if I don't understand.
And you have this classic.
Honestly, I hate
quote,
gamers.
Honestly,
blah, blah, blah.
I hate.
You mean white gamers? No, just gamer as a whole.
Says the community manager at a game development company. It's just.
What the fuck are you even doing in this profession, then, man? This is so fucking retarded and weird. You need to get boot the fuck out and replace. Fired.
Chef's kiss. It's just perfect. But don't worry, guys. When she was getting.
Fucking called her Pikachulita. Is that what it said? Let's just go back a little real quick. Pikachulita. Yeah, man.
Don't
fuck
worry,
out of here.
guys.
Sounds retarded.
When she was getting criticized for this stuff, it was actually just unwarranted harassment. When someone is openly trying to basically say a certain group of people are not welcome based on the color of their skin, their gender, and also just for being a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought that would get some blowback?
Ooh, look who's racist now.
But of course, that flies in the face of this 30-minute fluff piece that was made to celebrate South of Midnight a few months ago. Let's listen to the first part of this documentary.
In many ways, Midnight is about bringing people together, and magic is all around you.
Okay.
It's about learning empathy for people who aren't like you. It's finding hidden strengths.
Yeah, it's all about empathy and inclusion.
Empathy,
unless, of course, you're a white male gamer, then it's not for you, apparently.
Yeah, it's not for you.
But
fuck you,
all these things start to make a little more sense when you see videos like this. So this is actually the first time I've seen this. This user, Bandar Hub here, posted this yesterday, showing one of the writers on the staff for South of Midnight and their approach to writing and how they visualize themselves in the story, and how white people can't tell a story about diversity as well as someone.
Really, they fucking can't. That's such a fucking retarded ass statement to freaking say.
Who had
you need to fucking read a goddamn history book, or I don't know, get kicked in the face for saying something stupid like that.
A different skin color. Let's listen to this.
Saying I would definitely like to see more queer characters of color. Not just, just a white queer character. I would like to see more people that look like me. I think audiences have a very...
It's not good enough, right?
It's
not good enough that they have a queer character. It also has to have dark skin.
Yeah, they have to be dark skin.
It's just never good enough. You see how it just keeps getting pushed further and...
You give them an inch, they'll take a mile, bro.
Further and further.
Very vocal minority of people who are very much against inclusion.
These are the type of people that need to be, I don't know, like alienated, or they just need to be kind of get kicked the fuck out. Like, get out of here. We don't want you around here. You do no good service. You do a lot of disservice and no good service to anybody, really.
Of anything that's not, as we said, like a cis straight white man, but our existences aren't political. They just are.
They aren't political. Man, shut the fuck up. They're fucking political regardless and whatnot. And it's not even like, nuanced. It just hits too close to home, and that's not what people want to fucking dive into and whatnot.
And I think that more and more people are expecting to see that kind of representation and also expecting it to get broader as time goes on.
Well, I think what people are expecting is good characters.
Yeah.
I think that will connect with people more than anything. I mean, a great example of all this stuff is Assassin's Creed, right? With the Yasuke blowback. People are saying, "Oh, all these AC fans are racist. They don't want to see a minority as a protagonist in an Assassin's Creed game." That's just not true. People want to see a organic and strongly developed character. There's been tons of diversity throughout the Assassin's Creed franchise, and people never complained about it because the characters felt natural. They didn't feel forced in the environment just to check diversity boxes, and they were well written. So that's what people want. People relate to good characters. And if you have to relate to something just because of skin color, if that's the determining factor,
Yeah, if that's the only footnote and the only thing you have for just a character, it's just like one dimensional. No one's gonna fucking relate to that shit and whatnot. It feels very disingenuous to, as a person as a whole, to just skin color, it's just fucking weird.
I think that's ridiculous.
As opposed to just having that same.
There's fucking more to someone than just their goddamn skin color, what's that one scene in that old show, what is it, Addams Family? No, it was that Family of Monsters, the black and white show. Someone type it in the comments for me. Yeah, the name of the show escapes me, but I remember this one part where Frankenstein's talking to his son, and he's like, it doesn't matter whether if you're tall or short or fat or skinny or thin or ugly or handsome, like your father. It doesn't matter. What matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character. There's more than just like fucking, of course, skin color and physical appearance and whatnot. Like that's only half of the equation.
Like, white gay guy archetype, or like Ellie in The Last of Us, we're looking for people who, non-binary, intersex, trans, who aren't just white. They look like me and you. Ugh. And I think that game,
bro, the only problem is that like you're not the majority, you're just the minority, and that doesn't mean that you don't those type of people don't exist. And of course they fucking exist and whatnot. They freaking existed since ever. No one's just discrediting it that. But the thing is, the overwhelming population is not you.
Are starting.
People relate more to a character like that when it's not being shoved in their face. You want to freaking know? Here's a little tidbit for me. Okay, this is my take on something like this. Okay. No one cared in The Last of Us when they found out that Ellie was, gay, and they've she had, feelings for her friend, what was her name? Riley, right? In the DLC. No one gave a shit about that. No one gave a fuck that whether, that the both of them had a thing and whatnot. But once the story played out and you saw the tragedy of what happened at the end of the DLC, spoiler alert, where Riley dies, you just fucking feel that, that tug and whatnot. Like, fuck. Like that really honestly, like, kind of gives you, would definitely like leave you a scar and whatnot, Like, shit, I can't believe it freaking played out that way. Or even better, like here's even another one in Mass Effect 3 when you meet the new character Cortez, and there's a scene where when you go down into the bay of the Normandy, and you see Cortez in listening to a recording about how he lost his husband and whatnot, and when you hear his story on like how he lost his husband was because the collectors came, and they came really fast, and Cortez was like, you know, doing a job somewhere else, but his husband calls him on the radio, tell him like, don't come and don't come and save me, because you'll just end up getting taken being taken like everyone else over here. I'm not gonna make it. I need you to, you know, get away and so forth. But, you know, and you know, you just hear him see, you know, Cortez basically react, or better yet, let's really quick, let's do this. Check this out. Sorry guys, I'm uploading a video also. Let's see. Mass Effect 3 Cortez husband died. Let's see. Yeah, let's just watch this real quick.
I love you, but I know you. Don't make me an anchor. Promise me, Steve. No, don't.
Commander. Sorry. Didn't see you there.
And I will tell you, when the first time I freaking saw this, in the back of my mind, I wasn't thinking about, oh, he's gay or anything like that. No, I let it. That's not what normal people do. Normal people, like, they pretty much accept it, even when they hear it the first time. You know, almost like no reaction. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe that doesn't make sense. But like, you know, people at a face value, I think will, like, you know, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter whether he was gay or not. The only thing that mattered is that, like, you just come upon him, and then you hear the recording, and that part right there fucking, you know, tugs at you, because in the recording his husband is telling him, don't make me an anchor. Yet you see Cortez here obviously listening to the recording and is, you know, harboring some regret, survivor's guilt, that kind of, you know, that kind of theme. And it's not, and it feels genuine, and it's also valid as well, because like later on you see him able to move on and whatnot, and it's also because of the help of Shepard telling him like, yo, I'm terribly sorry, like, unless you're just gonna be a dick and be like, get over it or whatever. Like, no, he just, if you be like, you know, Pargon Shepard, yeah, there you go. If it be Pargon Shepard and not Renegade, you know, you go the route in trying to help Cortez, and at the end of the game, you know, he ends up coming out, you know, alive, compared to, if I'm guessing that if you were to be a renegade towards him, he ultimately dies.
No, don't.
Commander. Sorry. Didn't see you there. This is a recording from Ferris Fields. Months ago. I lost a lot of friends that day. I lost my husband. I grieved. Said goodbye, made my peace.
You were talking with him when the collectors hit?
I was organizing construction at a remote station a few clicks south of the main colony. Robert managed to get outside of the field the collectors put up. Instead of running.
And okay, well, you know, let's cut off there, and that's enough of that. But like, that scene had more weight to it, and it's only like a minute or so, depending on how much, you know, time you go through the scene and whatnot. But that's what I'm saying. The thing is that no one gave a shit, especially when BioWare was actually ahead of its time. I want to say in same sex relationships and whatnot. No one gave a fuck whether if you chose decided to be in a same sex relationship. I did in a playthrough, and I'm straight. Like, I just wanted to see like how that would turn out, and it wasn't, it didn't turn me off or anything like that. It was just like, that's the ability to like just to experience it and just like see how that plays out as playing Shepard. It feels genuine. Mass Effect as a whole felt very grounded in the relationships, and that's because using Mass Effect as an example in the writing is that they wrote good characters with every one of them having good and bad qualities and whatnot. Now, compared to like what we have these days, it's just being shoved, and it's obviously being checked off a box like, oh, are they black? Check. Are they gay? Check. Are they trans? Check. I mean, if you have to freaking say in the game the character themselves like, oh, I'm binary, blah, blah blah, all this fucking retarded stupid talk, I'll be like, bye, I'm done. I'm not even fucking. I don't fuck with that shit.
To delve into that more, but I think it also needs to be intentional and not an afterthought. It can't, like, if you're writing, like Tori said, it has to be from the beginning. The team should be from that community, not like, oh, we're wherever in our process, we should probably bring on like a consultant who we may or may not listen to. It should, from the beginning, it should be a priority. And I think audiences are hungry for that kind of thoughtfulness.
No, they're
Yeah,
not.
it sounds a lot like Kim Belair, right? Like
It sounds like you and your radical left thinking, whatever. No one gives a fuck about that, honestly. But if you go so far to where you have to push that kind of narrative, then it's a turnoff.
What we discussed earlier, bring them into the room, give them a coffee, and scare them into basically accepting whatever your goal is. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, that sounds like mob mentality, basically. The only thing is that they're not the mafia, though. They're not the Italian mob. They don't have the. I think if I were in a room with these type of people, yeah, I wouldn't be swayed. I'd be like, the only way you're gonna make me change is if you end me. It's the only way.
Right from the beginning, in fact, like, don't even bring them in during the middle of the process. Bring in these consultancy people right from the beginning and start laying out these characters to start checking the boxes.
And I think queer people of color are able to write, like, within their own identity, white characters of that same identity, but I don't think that white creators can on their own cross that boundary to write a queer person of color, because as people of color we have to exist within different.
That's such a fucking weird thing to have a stand on. You not only that, oh, you might be gay, but the thing is you're white, so don't even fuck with me. Like, racism within racism, or I don't know, there's like an inception racism, whatever the fuck
Framework
in there
of America is just like
it's fucking weird, dude.
Colonialistic framework.
Colonialistic.
Like whiteness is the standard, and so like I understand your like culture, but like come to a barbecue at my church or at my house or something and tell me like how well you can navigate that. And I
don't think I would. I wouldn't fucking go no fucking barbecue with you. I'd be like, nah, I think your barbecue is shit.
I bet it's not nearly as simple for you because you're not used to having to put on that kind of thing. And I agree with CC.
Yeah, so basically you're just straight up saying that white people can't write diverse characters as well as certain minorities might be
as
able
good
to.
as- yeah, as good
Very,
as
very
minorities.
strange thing to say, and the barbecue comparison is just pretty crazy. Just
Yeah,
like,
it's fucking weird,
I don't know.
dude.
I think people can fit in anywhere if they just act normal, right? If they're just like
Yeah, pretty much anyone can fit anywhere if they just act normal, just be themselves. I mean, if that's the footnote that you come off at face value in the first time, face to face basis, and the first thing you say is like, "Are you gay?" or "Are you an alphabet person?" Like, wouldn't that be weird? I mean, that's weird. Regardless, it doesn't matter, what position you're in.
respectful, they can probably get along pretty decently. I just think that's a pretty crazy comparison, and this whole thing has been blowing up, and people are talking a lot about this clip. But let's return to Sweet Baby, okay?
Okay.
Things aren't going very well for them right now. There's a lot of
Been dropped by
rumors
Sony.
swirling about the company and potential losses for them. So you can see the headline, Sweet Baby Inc. reportedly dropped by Sony as gaming giant cancels several projects with SBI involvement. And this is based on a Master of the TDS video they released on their Gothic Therapy program there, where he has an insider who has provided reliable information before, and they're saying that there are some targeted, deliberate terminations of in-development projects that had Sweet Baby Inc. embedded in them. And that is basically finding out at this point. It's taken way too long. I hope this is true, because at the end of the day, Sweet Baby's done a lot of things wrong, and they really haven't faced anything for it. I mean, they just keep getting worse.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck these fucking glassholes freaking get away with their bullshit and not have any kind of pushback. Oh, well, not pushback, but consequences and repercussions for their bullshit. I mean, they've done some shady ass shit, and how the hell have they not been given like some kind of pink slip, or someone showing up at their door and be like, "Yo, your bullshit is getting out of hand. You need to chill the fuck out," or something. I don't know. Maybe a wake up call.
So maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of something happening, actual consequences for tanking many games at this point. Everything they touch, they got the Sweet Baby kiss of death, and it strikes again with South of Midnight. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Nice. Thank you. Well, thank you, Rev. Rev says this. That was a good video. Yeah, freaking covered what everything, what they have to say about them. So shout out to them, and definitely give Rev a like and a follow. Show him some support, guys. He does good shit. Okay, he does very good shit. I've been a follower of him already for about, I think, maybe 2 some years and whatnot. He does good stuff. So definitely go show him some support, some love. He definitely deserves it. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Moy, that was like, a lot to, of course, ingest and whatnot, and also give you guys my 2 cents about it and whatnot. So definitely also do me a favor and like the video or dislike it, and also get the conversation going in the comments, whether you think that if the take was good, or if not, then I guess explain to me how it probably isn't. I'm welcome to any of it regardless. So yeah, all right guys, that's gonna be it. Once again, thank you for your support and for watching the video. Catch you all on the next one. Later guys.